Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Today's video is going to be a tad bit different than what you normally see from us, but I could not go any longer without sharing this recipe with y'all. Today, I'm going to show y'all how to make sourdough sandwich bread. Now, to some of y'all, you're going to be like, oh, okay, that's easy to do. But for me, and if you're in the same boat that I have been in for years, sourdough is something that was very intimidating to me and that I struggled with tremendously. Now, this is not going to be some fancy artesian loaf of bread that's, got the designs and the nice pretty round loaf. That's not what this is going to be. This is going to be your everyday sandwich bread. And it is about the best thing I think I've ever eaten. So I have... I'm not going to say perfected because I've not quite perfected it yet. But when we were in Alabama, a sweet friend that I met down there brought me a sourdough starter. And I want to say thank you for the encouragement to continue to try to make sourdough because I have not tried to make any probably in a couple years now. She brought me a starter and told me that it was about 100 years old. And she just gave me a lot of encouragement that I need to try to continue to make sourdough bread. And thank you so much for that because I've been making sourdough bread nonstop since we got home until I got it the way that I wanted it. And y'all, I'm so excited about this. And I cannot wait to hear if you try it. And I hope that it turns out for you too. So, without further ado, this will by far be the easiest bread you ever make and the best bread you ever make. That's why this bread literally, y'all know my normal video style vlogs, but this is so good that it had to have its own video. So, let's do it. So the first thing we're going to start off with is warm milk. 1.5 cups of warm milk. I like the texture of the bread, in my opinion, better with the milk versus water. So, then, you want a nice bubbly, this thing has seen better days, I probably need to switch jars. You see how that's bubbly? I fed it last night and first thing this morning when I got up. We need a cup of active, bubbly sourdough starter to go in with our milk. That is a very important step when you're making sourdough, is to make sure that you've got an active, bubbly, happy starter or it's not going to rise. I'm going to get that kind of mixed in there. Now to that, we're going to add about 3 tablespoons of honey. Now I just eyeball this. That's probably not recommended. But you can do honey or sugar. I have found that I like the flavor and the texture of it better with honey. Like I said, I've been making bread like a mad person ever since I got back from Alabama. Because she encouraged me. And ain't that what it's about? Ain't that to encourage each other? Life ain't a competition, y'all. I can't stress that enough. I feel like there are people in this world that feel like life is a competition and you should be keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak. That ain't what life's about, though. We're all here to help each other. Alright. All that is combined. Now we're going to add about 4 cups of flour. Start off with 4 cups. We're going to make a shaggy dough. I don't typically buy bread flour, so this is just regular old Hudson Cream all-purpose flour, okay? That's what I buy because this is what in my opinion, what makes the best biscuits. So that's why I buy this particular brand of flour. So I wanted to figure out what worked best for me using just regular all-purpose flour instead of having to buy yet another kind of flour. They say bread flour is the best, but there's about 4 cups. Now, we are going to just combine this flour in, like I said, till we get what I would consider like a shaggy dough. So it's not going to be this pretty ball of dough or anything. Not yet. Not yet. You just want to get it combined until you see most of your liquid's gone. And we start to form something that favors dough, like that. There it is. Okay. We're going to let this sit just like this. Not going to do anything else to it for about 30 minutes, and then we'll be back. Alright, so that's what it looks like after about 30 minutes. You can tell it's soaked up most of that moisture. So the next thing is we're going to put in about 3 tablespoons of melted / softened butter. And that's salted butter. And 2 teaspoons of salt. Now, if you make this and feel like it's missing something, the answer is always more salt. But with the salted butter and the 2 teaspoons, it's perfect for us anyway. Now, also keep in mind I use Redmond's real salt, so sometimes it takes a tad more of that than if I were to use regular table salt. Now, I'm going to knead this in for about 5 minutes until I get a nice round dough. When you first start, you're going to notice that it's kind of like you can't really stretch it. And once it starts getting a little more stretchy, that's how you know you're at a good point. Now, I can't tell you all the technicalities of sourdough bread and why what works. And, you know, there's a lot of fermentation and chemical reactions, I guess, and all kinds of stuff that goes on to make sourdough bread what it is. But I just know that this works and that it tastes good. So, that's what matters. Alright. So, that looks pretty good to me. Now we're ready to cover this. Actually, we're going to let it rise for about 30 minutes in a warm spot, and we'll give it another stretch. Alright, so it's been about 40 minutes. And now, you can see our dough is still pretty shiny, which is fine. Not too sticky. It's coming apart pretty easy. So we don't need to add any flour to that. That's okay. We're going to start stretching it. Just a few times. And like I said, don't know the technicalities behind it. I just know that it tastes good and it works. So I just kind of take it and pull it. Just kind of like that. I'm letting it kind of pull itself, and you can see it broke right there, but that's okay. We're just going to roll it back on itself. And you want it to be nice and elastic. And I just do that for just a minute, and now I'm going to roll it back up. Still stretching as I roll it. Nobody told me to do that. I just kind of felt like it was a good idea. So, and I'm going to turn it back into a nice little dough ball. And we will do that. Now we're going to put it back, cover it back up. We'll do it one more time in about another 30 minutes. Then it's hands off for a good long while. This is the perfect bread to make, like if you're going to be at home all day working on deep cleaning, or it's just one of those dreary days you don't feel like going out. Man, make you some of this. It's so satisfying, and it is so good. Alright, so one more final stretch here for this. We're going to do it the exact same way. I'm just going to pull it, and I'm going to kind of let it stretch itself from its own weight. Don't know if this is the right way, but just the way I do it, and it works. So all together for this first rise, we're going to let it rise 4 to 6 hours, depending on like the heat in your house, how warm your house is, or wherever you're setting your dough is, you know, of course, if it's warmer, it's going to rise quicker. So I'm probably going to check this again in about 3 hours, because it's already been rising for about an hour. And we'll see where we're at. It's cool enough that I actually have my heat on, y'all. So I've actually got this sitting next to one of my vents. Perfect place to rise bread. Alright, so got that good and stretched. You can see it's really not tearing like it was a little bit ago, so that's awesome. So now I'm just going to roll it back into a beautiful little ball. And we're going to let that just do its thing for another 3 hours. And then we'll check on it. Like I said, you want it to be roughly doubled in size. Now this is not going to look like yeast bread when you make yeast and it just blows up. This is going to be pretty subtle, but there's what it looks like now. If it's not quite doubled, it's fine. You can still go on with our next step I'll show you in a little while. But roughly doubled in size. You want it in a warm place. Another good place I like to rise bread is in my little sunroom that's right outside my kitchen here. When the sun's shining, I can sit it out there on a table and the sun is just shining right on it. That's an excellent place, but the sun is not shining today. So, so next to the heat vent it is. Alright, so here we are. Excuse me if I look a little dirtier than I did just a second ago on this video. I've been out in the cornfield. But that's the beautiful thing about this sourdough bread here, is it's a lot of hands-off time. It may seem so intimidating, but I have made this recipe now, so many times, because y'all had to perfect it before I got brave enough to show it on camera. But it is so hands-off that you can go get so much done while you're waiting on it. So now we're ready. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So it's close to double in size, maybe not completely. Now, I use a cast iron bread pan. This is not a must. Just use whatever loaf pan you have. But I'm going to grease this up real good. And we're ready for our next rise. And now if you're using cast iron or whatever kind of pan you're using, make sure you grease it up real good, because like I just said, I've made this several times in the last few weeks. And well, nothing hurts your feelings more than your beautiful loaf of bread sticking to the pan, and then you turn it into an ugly loaf of bread because, well, you had to fight with it to get it out the pan. So, especially in the corners. That seems to be my problem area, is the corners. So I'm just going to grease that up real serious here. In all the little nooks and crannies. And up here on the top. Because we know that bread's going to lay over that top edge there once it cooks. That looks good to me. I'm going to take it, pull it up out of my bowl. Now it should just pull out, shouldn't be too sticky. And I'm just going to sit that down in my loaf pan. Just like that. See there? I'm going to come through with my sharp chopper here, and I'm going to cut a nice slit in it there. You're going to want that, which I'm still struggling. This is the part that I have not perfected, and it's probably because I need one of them fancy smancy razor blades. But it's like my cut is not deep enough, so my bread will bust out on the side. But that's okay with me. I mean, it's just a cosmetic thing at that point. So now I'm just going to cover it up. We're going to let this rise another 2 to 4 hours. Same thing. It depends on the temperature in your house as to how fast this is going to go. So it's been, I'll check on it at the 2 hour mark, but it's been taken about to the 3 hour mark. So I'm looking for it to be ever so slightly raised above my bread pan. And it will rise more once we cook it. We are ready to bake. It has been rising for, what time is it? 3.5 hours. And you can see here how much it has risen. It's come up over my pan. There's another way we can tell that we're ready to cook. We're going to touch it. If the dent kind of stays, then we're ready to cook. Now, it'll come out a little bit, but it's pretty slow. So, the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to paint this top with some milk. Now, you can do butter. You can do egg wash, from what I've been told. That's not how I've done this here recipe. So, if you're wanting to follow exactly how I've done it, I've always done milk on top, and it has worked wonderfully. Like, I get a really pretty brown color. You're going to want to go ahead and preheat your oven to 375 degrees. And this is ready to go. In the oven we go. This is going to cook for right at 45 minutes. I cannot wait to show y'all what this looks like. Alright, let's see what this bread looks like. We should be done. Oh yeah. Look at there, look at there. See that beautiful browning we get on it with that milk? And so, it actually didn't bust anywhere it wasn't supposed to this time. So, I made my cut a little deeper than what I had been at it. So, maybe I finally got it deep enough where it wouldn't bust open. So now, what I like to do is I'm just going to take butter now and just go right over the top of it while it's still piping hot. And I don't want to leave this in my cast iron too long because then it will stick. So, as soon as I get that on there, I'm going to take me a little knife and I'm going to go around the edges to make sure we're not stuck. so we don't mess up our pretty bread, which even if we do mess it up, it still tastes good. Which we might be all right, it looks like. Yep, it's actually moving in there. I hear it. Now I'm going to see if I can't flip it out on my towel here. Perfect. Y'all see how good that came out? Most of the time when I try to video stuff, it kind of goes backwards. Give y'all a 360 view of this. Look at that beautiful sourdough sandwich bread. Telling y'all. So yes, I have been working on this bread since 10 o'clock this morning, I think is when I started. And it is now 20 minutes till 9. But actual hands-on time of me actually having to do stuff and be here, the 45 minutes it was in the oven, because of course you don't want to walk away and like leave the house and leave your oven, so I'm not sure if we'll count that. Let's not count that. I'm going to say roughly 30 minutes of actual hands-on time that I needed to be here doing something with this bread. Seriously, the easiest bread I have ever made. So, we're not going to cut it open tonight. It's best to let it cool completely before you cut it open. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll catch back up with y'all in the morning. We'll cut it open and I'll show y'all what it looks like. Well, y'all, here we are the very next day. Now, when I let my bread cool, I don't put it in anything until it's completely cool. There's no reason to, because it's got this nice crust all the way around it. So, we'll have to put it up after we break open that crust, of course, but I cannot wait to show y'all what the inside of this looks like. Look at that perfection. So guys, look at this. This nice, tight, I think they call it a crumb. It's really got a soft texture, even on the outside, even on this crusty layer. That is super soft. You don't even have to put anything on it. It's so good. That's the finished product, and what I'll do with that is I'll keep it in a Ziploc bag, and we'll have this eat usually in less than a week. So I kind of make this my every, I don't know, 4-day routine is what I've been doing lately. About every 4 days, I'll make a new loaf of bread. So a couple of pointers for you before we end today's video. Some things I've learned through my trial and error over the last few weeks. If your dough is sticky, super sticky, and like sticking to your hands, like to the point that it's like gluing itself to your hands, it's going to feel kind of squishy and everything. But if it's actually like sticking to your hands, give it to that second stretch. And if at that second stretch it's still super sticky, you can add just a little bit more flour. I still wouldn't add a ton, but you can add a little bit more flour and help that stickiness. But I would give it to that second stretch. And make sure you grease your bread pan super well, like I told you yesterday. You can, when we went from the bowl to the loaf pan, at that point you can cover it and put it in the refrigerator overnight if you want to let it rise the next day. I've done it both ways. I didn't see that it made a difference with my texture or taste or anything like that. It still cooked up good, but that second rise, instead of being 2 to 4 hours where it's so cold when it comes out of the refrigerator, it was more like 6 hours, if I remember right, because I did that one time, and it was like 6 hours the next day. But that is an option. Make sure you're using an active, bubbly starter, sourdough starter, before you make any kind of bread. So what really helps the texture of this bread, from my understanding, is using milk versus water And using honey or sugar in there really does help the texture of it. It's so good. Like, this is the bread recipe that I have looked for years. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Even Andy is not like a bread man. He does not, I mean, he'll eat bread, like he'll eat a biscuit with supper or a piece of cornbread, you know, something to sop up your plate, clean up your plate with. But as far as eating sandwiches or just liking bread in general, that's just not his thing. This bread right here, y'all, he's been just eating it by itself. Believe it or not. He loves this bread. That's how good it is. So, I hope this video has helped you today. And again, I want to thank my sweet friend from Alabama for encouraging me and giving me the confidence to try sourdough bread again. And I hope this video is nothing short of encouraging for you. If you are in the same shoes that I was in and intimidated or kind of, you know, scared of sourdough bread, I hope you try this recipe, and I hope that it is fabulous for you and becomes part of your everyday routine. But anyways, guys, I guess that's going to about wrap up today's video. Please let me know in the comments if you've tried the bread. Post it on Facebook if you want to, in our Facebook group. I always love seeing that stuff. And anyways, guys, till we see y'all on the next one, y'all have a good one.